Whoa, hey! Sorry, AKAPADers, I didn't see you guys there. Welcome back to the channel. Peter A. DeLuca here, coming to you for Flag Day. There's a couple things we love on this channel. We love America, we love Flag Day, and we love John Byrne. All these things come together in a wonderful layered cake. Are you guys familiar with Torch of Liberty? He's right here. Okay? This is a Dark Horse comic book, but more importantly, this is a Legend comic book. See, a lot of the creators back in the day that didn't want to go to Image Comics, they got together, they formed their own company. Hellboy, we all know Hellboy. Hellboy comes from the Legend line. And at the time, it was awesome. We had Hellboy, Next Man, Danger Unlimited, Madman, Concrete, I'm forgetting some of them, and Sin City, right? These were the Legend books. And John Byrne helps Mike Mignola out. He scripts the Seed of Destruction, the inaugural Hellboy, the Hellboy universe launching miniseries. But John Byrne scripts it, and in those pages, we have one of John Byrne's creations, this Torch of Liberty guy. He's a Captain American analog, a Captain America wannabe character. But guess what? 4 issues, 4 backup stories, and we're all in on Torch of Liberty. John Byrne is about to teach us how few pages you need and how to properly do a backup story. And it's significant because backup stories it's something that a lot of books, a lot of creators chase. They kind of think they can just throw one in there. No, backup stories need to be good and significant. And if you want to connect them and do somewhat of a backup story serial, this is a wonderful template. So it's Flag Day. We're going to hit that drawing table and we're going to all introduce and reintroduce ourselves to John Byrne's Torch of Liberty. Let's go. Here he is. AKAPAD's the greatest 90s creation of all time. Say hello to Crypt. This is a Crypt drawing table. Don't trust anyone that doesn't have a Crypt action figure at their drawing table. So, we got Danger Unlimited #1. If you're not familiar with Danger Unlimited, think of it as a 90s harder version of Fantastic Four that at the time was a million times better than Fantastic Four. One day, we'll get into Danger Unlimited. One day, we're getting into more detail of the Legend imprint of Dark Horse Comics. So here, John Byrne writes to us and he makes this observation. He's like, all of these things that you guys are loving in comics, like we were marching towards that. And these Image guys are borrowing from us as we borrowed from our previous generation. This is a part of the conflict between the veterans and the guys coming up at Image. He makes a little bit of the example here that, hey, there's a lot of ponytails in comics. He goes, well, you know, like we have like Doc Danger and Doc Samson, and I've done a lot of that in comic books myself. I've done Doc Samson. He's had a ponytail, and there's a lot of ponytails in comics. It's petty, but it's a bigger concept because when we look into even the design of Torch of Liberty, we see pouches, and now, how common is it for Captain America to be seen with brown leather pouches? Again, comic books is built on top of one another. It's just like this. It's like it just expands and everyone always borrows. People miss those points. We have an issue here of Incredible Hulk 344 Todd McFarlane. Very quickly, we open up the page. We're just going to go into one page here. The way how McFarlane drew his tech, the giant proportions, the overweightiness of it, the pure comic book side of Tom McFarlane's tech rendering that he brings fully into Spawn, fully into Image Comics. He gets this. This is all from John Byrne. And it's a harder point to make. You have to read a lot of comic books to make that correlation. Byrne here, he's saying the same thing. And it's hard to get specifics because at the time, like the pouch thing wasn't totally taking off yet. It was almost just like when Image blurred away and went into the realms of forgetfulness, the pouches really resonated. And then who is John Byrne? Well, I attribute John Byrne in creating, I call this the drop cover. He does one of these for G.I. Joe. Clutch Goes Home, look that up. Might have been G.I. Joe 38, maybe. But he pretty much like created these fall covers. And you see, like we're in the roller coaster of some sort. People are falling. Carnival of Death, Iron Man's coming to save you. Please buy me. Sure, I'll buy you. Byrne makes an impact on the second greatest run of Fantastic Four. He introduces She-Hulk into Fantastic Four. He sculpts She-Hulk into what she was for the Disney Plus show. This is all John Byrne. This is a great issue, by the way, too. John Byrne gives us the greatest version of Namor in comic book history. Absolute jaw-dropping run. John Byrne gives us the greatest version of Superman in comic book history. He gives us one of the greatest reboots in comic book history with Man of Steel. John Byrne goes way back. Here's Doomsday Squad. Here's a young John Byrne boy just sitting down, telling stories, drawing comics. That's all he ever wanted to do. So we get to Danger Unlimited. I just want to show off the first couple pages here. Issue 1 pulls you in, and it pulls you in through cinematics and landscape. Phoenix Agenda, Rebirth. I mean, guys, right? Like, you can almost hear that. You can hear this. But he pulls us in more or less through the environment, as a Fantastic Four book should. Right? Like, the environment is immensely important here. But we're talking about the backup story. Karan Dreyer. He's still in the game, still drawing. We have a couple POWs, a couple American soldiers getting dropped off at a Nazi concentration camp. We have seen it up. I'm sorry. It would seem we have more prisoners now than we loaded into the truck. Guards, inspect the prisoners. We have a rat among the mice, and we see these like red boots. This guy catches on. He's like, "Yo, those aren't regulation. Those aren't U.S. government issued boots." Next thing you know, Torch of Liberty just basically murders. Goes full Punisher style. This is John Byrne's contribution to the grittiness of 90s American comics. John Byrne goes all in on Torch of Liberty being unforgiving against the Nazis. Now, here's the amazing thing. To sentiment, and you guys know I read a lot of history, to sentiment against the Germans during this time, it is echoed. It's 100% accurate. There was a visceral anger, like a fight for your life against, like, with all the sides. The Japanese had it against the Americans in the Pacific. We saw this with Rommel, with the Desert Foxes in Africa. We see here in France, and that's pretty much where we are. But yeah, he clears the room. Some of these captions are great. In an instant, the camp is transformed. Up and atom, you're free. A place of desolation and despair, free, guns, becomes an explosion of sudden hope, free, guns. And all of these guys, like, they kind of go on this rush. And then right here, this is great. In less time than it takes to tell it's over. So they got, look, the sudden rush of numbing fatigue engulfs the liberated prisoners. See, so they're just like running, and then they just kind of go back to not having energy and being prisoners. And then, yeah, they hoist up Torch of Liberty. And we cut to another concentration camp where the Germans are cleaning house. And we get this Golgotha. Golgotha swears. This is great. Again, guys, captions. And this is John Byrne writing here. One word, but it freezes the marrow in the officer's bones. It is a voice he has heard only once before and prayed each night that he may never hear it again. So just the voice alone of Golgotha. It's awesome. So next issue, Battle Cry. So keep in mind, you're spending $2. You're getting fully introduced into... and guys, check out this segue here. So this creature dude, right here, like we seen, right? This creature, like, right? Ready? Oh, boom, it's a girl. Like, the storytelling is so good. So what happens in Torture Liberty issue 2? This is great. I love this one. So Torture Liberty, he goes back to the American base, and everyone's like, look, great greeting. Those pals out of that camp opened the way for bombing for that musician's factory. Torture, a miracle. And look, this officer, he's like, it was the best thing that, you were the best thing that ever happened in this damn war. The day you joined the fight. Is it, General? So we flash back, and he's playing football. I love this panel here. I love the car here. But yeah, during this football game, they announced that Japan has bombed Pearl Harbor. They're entering the war, and he signs up. And he has this moment where his father quotes George C. Scott in the Patton movie monologue, written by Oliver Stone, by the way. No, written by Francis Ford Coppola. Sorry. Here you go. Look. His father tells him right here, it's looking into the pile of red mush that used to be your best friend's face. That's what Patton says. So, yeah, and we cut into France. They drop into France. He sees this beautiful French girl, and they're like, hey, we need to bomb this bridge. And he's like, look, maybe, but I don't like this. Join up to fight, not to sneak around and blow up bridges. And she's like, look, a-hole, this is how things are done here. So we cut away a little bit, and she's alone at night. He's like, hey, you shouldn't be out here, it's so cold. And she basically tells him, she's like, look, the Germans, they tortured and killed my family in front of me before they turned their attention to me. And she has her hair, pulls it back, and he's like, good Lord. And then we get into the suddenness of the war, because the Germans catch up to the Americans here, ambush. So we get into issue 3, and this is where like he really wakes up. This is like very emotional. But yeah, a moment ago the night was nearly silent. A moment ago the hoot of a distant owl and the hushed, anxious whispers of a handful of American commandos disturbed the darkness. Then the twig snapped somewhere in the underbrush, and then Paul Gibney, that's who Torture Liberty is. Paul Gibney found himself looking into the face of death, and he breaks. Like, everyone around him gets completely destroyed by the Germans. He hides. He's just having this existential crisis. They have everyone now in the house. They're executing them one by one. And, like, look at these panels, though. Like, holy crap. And he kind of blacks out. And the girl, before she dies, like, he blacks out, murders everyone. Your eyes, they blaze like the torch of Lady Liberty. And then she passes away right there. And then it kind of cuts to him, modern day. He's back at the house. Local boy, missing in France. I love that he finds the newspaper, but look at Coran Dyer. Look at the brushwork here, the blacks, the easy motion of this jump. This is like a hardcore story. He's drawing a lot of different things. I love this silhouette with just the top. We see the top of the shingles. A lot of this stuff is not easy. It's not easy to show two different types of soldiers, one running over a hill or over a brush, we're in brush, and then one getting ambushed, and to kind of have it all separated. It's insane. So, yeah, local boy missing, and then we cut into the final part. Danger Unlimited, issue 4. Newsreel, Golgotha. Torch of Liberty. Here we go. Obtaining this footage was not difficult mind for her. So they're showing this to Big H here, and he's like, look, we don't know if it's one guy or 2 or 3. You said he's been on like every part of this European front here. He's been everywhere. Are we sure it's one guy? And then Golgotha shows up, and he's like, hey, I am the counterforce which balances the Torch of Liberty. And he's like, he is my purpose. And you're like, yes. We always talk about this. Whoever is our hero, the opposite needs to, the villain needs to be a dynamic opposite of the hero. Just like Crypt is a dynamic opposite of Prophet. That's why Crypt works so well. But yeah, this is great. The illustrations here and some of the faces. But the way we're drawing Hitler, it's like cartoony. We know it's him. Of course, but the hair flip works. And again, we're doing this because we're familiar with how Hitler looks. But at the same time, it's like the shadowing, the bags underneath the eyes. Like this dude, we had hoped. Like they're just so, look, if there was anyone, the Third Reich, it's just like the expressions are there. And I love, kind of like in Hitler's office, he has all these like artworks and statues and stuff. Like the comic book level things that we would expect. But people, for Flag Day, Torch of Liberty, this is such a good banger read. This is the definition of what to do with a backup story. And there's so many bad backup stories out there. John Byrne being great and laying it down. I love it.